Lately, I've been watching the headlines roll in. Every platform, every station, every social media feed flooded with polling data about upcoming elections. But here is what puzzling me. Every poll says something different. One claims candidate A is leading, others say the opposite. It made me stop and ask, how can a few hundred or even a couple thousand people decide the fate of millions? How are the polls shaping what we think, what we feel, and how we vote? The power to shape the public opinion didn't begin with social media, it began with a ballot box. From ancient Athens, early votes to America's first straw poll in 1824, the idea of capturing the public voice evolved rapidly. By the 20th century, George Gallup had turned polling into a science, money. But I became aware of its darker side early on. For those who don't know, I grew up under communism. I didn't know nothing better. I was born. My parents were the communists. And, I live in that era. I vividly remember, particularly on an eve of 31st December, watching the 8 p.m. news. And then there come this lady or the gentleman and they declared, the people demand more sacrifice, more work, and more trust in the party. It was a all lie. Propaganda masquerading as public will. I saw firsthand how surveys were used to manipulate, not to measure. Today, the manipulation continues, just with better tools. So, we must ask ourselves, when we see poll results, are we truly witnessing public opinion or carefully manufactured consent? Hello, all of you risk takers and truth seekers, and welcome to Life, the battlefield, where we expose fake gurus through human intelligence methods. Those who don't know me, my name is Bekes, and I hold the Guinness World Record for the longest live audio broadcast. As well, I spent 1,800 consecutive combat days, and my professional career includes working in the military and diplomatic intelligence security services. On top of this, I'm the best-selling author, and I have the passion for podcasting. But in this episode of Life the Battlefield, we'll discuss the dark art of shaping public opinion via polling. Bottom line is, all my life, either I fought the wars or I work with informations. Either I serve the system, politicians, or I work against my enemies. I want to talk about elections. Every election season, numbers flood the headlines. Candidate A leads with 52%. Okay. Public confidence drops to 30%. 8 in 10 citizens says the country is on the wrong track. These headlines shape conversations, influence voters, and make or break political careers. But behind every number is a complex mix of methodology, psychology, and sometimes manipulation. Before you let a poll sway your vote, ask yourself, who conducted, how it's done, and what does it really mean? Public opinion surveys are one of the most used tools in modern democracies. And in communism, especially during political change, election campaigns, and social unrest. While they often act as a barometer of public mood, they are also widely misunderstood. And with misunderstanding comes misused. To be informed citizen, understanding how servers are built is no longer optional. It's essential. Now, let me bring you into something more close to your heart. When I drive to my work and I'm listening radio and they say radio such and such is being voted number one, I'll ask myself, who voted them number one? Well, they say like it's a 5 million listeners. Did they interview 10 million listeners and 5 of them say it's that number? Is a 5 million listeners pick up the phone? Or maybe it's been than just a few thousand people online to click their preferential radio station. That's how it's done, and that's what bothers me. What is public opinion? In modern terms, refers to combined opinions of adult citizens in a social or political group. Opinion is not the same as knowledge, attitudes, or beliefs. Opinion is often a quick response to a question. Quick response to a question. People can form opinions with little to no experience. But during high-stakes times like elections, opinions deepen, influenced by attitudes, values, and beliefs. That's correct. In democracies, public opinions plays a key role. It shapes policies. It drives political agendas. It gives the leaders the appearance of legitimacy. They claim to act on behalf of the people. And surveys are their proof. First of all, people never choose the candidates. Political parties choose the candidates to represent the people. People never choose the candidates. In communism was sort of that opinion that people choose the candidates, from people, for the people, with the people, of the people. I forgot all these slogans. But who choose the politicians to represent the people? They say the surveys. And the surveys are their proof. But when the polls are misused, they become tools of influence, not reflection. A major concern is the relationship between politicians and polling agencies. They have a relationship. They must have. Political clients want favorable results. In heated campaigns, this relationship becomes especially dangerous. One key danger is biased on data designed to shape opinion, not to reflect. If a poll shows a candidate leading, even falsely, it can trigger the bandwagon effect. Undecided voters flock to the so-called front runner. We live in a post-truth world, a time when personal belief often outweighs fact. Even if a survey is disapproved later, the emotional impression stays. Let me just draw this to you into something you can relate. When I was 18 years old, I was born in communism, I was living in communism, and then comes a time when we need to fight for democracy, for the freedom. For me, as an 18 years old, I didn't know what the freedom or democracy truly it is, but I was swaying towards that, McDonald's, Coke, rock and roll. But I remember politicians, how powerful they were, how powerful speeches they were giving to us. And I believe because emotional impression stays. And if my president says, you need to die, I would die. In those days, we trust how we felt more than we learned. That's why polling accuracy matters more than ever. Bad data misleads the public, distorts debates, and threatens democracy. The foundation of any valid poll is representativeness. Since we can't ask everyone to use samples, that's what I'm talking about. You want to talk about radio? Small group that mirror the whole population. Small group. Researchers select people by age, gender, income, location, and more. Done right, it gives useful insights at low cost. Done poorly, it gives misinformation. My question is to you. How can you evaluate a poll? Here are the 5 key questions you need to ask yourself. Who commissioned it? When was conducted? How was it conducted? Online, by phone, in person, by mail? How were the questions worded? And how big was the sample size? If a poll fails of any of these counts, be skeptical. You must be skeptical. And why is that? Because the polls are powerful. When they're right, they reveal societal trends, disconnect, and divisions. But public opinion is a fluid. It's always moving. People change. Everything's changed. And surveys often exclude key groups like young people or minorities. That's called non-response bias. And it matters. Let me conclude this with this question. Do you want to identify reliable surveys? Well, then check the organization reputation. Look for transparency. Was the method clearly published? Compare multiple sources and beware of outliers. Now, you need to trust analysis who you follow. Finally, with the power, you must trust media report polls who are responsible. Pollsters must resist political pressure, and citizens must stay sharp. Surveys should reflect the will of the people, not bend it. In an age where the facts compete with the feelings, learning how polling works isn't the luxury. It's a skill every voter must have, because when you understand the numbers, you reclaim the narrative. We're living in a world of post-truth, where the social media emphasize our emotions. So reclaim the narrative. Thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe, share, like, a comment. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about polling? Not just staying up during the election, but as well when it comes to the business and to other agendas. Thank you for watching.